Have you ever hit a point in life where you just stopped and thought, wait a minute, is this what I want the rest of my life to look like? If you're over 60, you've likely spent decades working hard, raising a family, taking care of others, making sacrifice, basically being the backbone of everything around you. But now, for the first time in a long time, you have a chance to make life about you. Not selfishly, but truthfully. This stage of life, whether you call it retirement, reinvention, or just your time, isn't about doing more. It's about choosing better. And sometimes, choosing better starts with letting go. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 9 things to let go of after the age of 60. And no, it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because you deserve more joy, more peace, more freedom. I've spent over a decade listening to stories from people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, and these are the real lessons that have stuck with me. Stick around till the end, because the last one might just change how you wake up tomorrow morning. Let's begin. 1. Let go of saving out of fear. I know that might sound counterintuitive. Most of us were raised on this principle: save for a rainy day, save for retirement, save just in case. And that mindset has likely served you well for most of your life. But here's the thing no one tells you. Fear-based saving can become a trap. I once sat with a man who had over 2 million saved, a paid-off house, no debt, and still, every time his wife suggested going on a vacation, or even just out for a nice dinner, he froze up. What if something happens? He'd say. What if we need that money later? So I asked him, what if you don't? What if later never comes the way you think it will? If that hits home, know this: you didn't save your whole life just to keep living in fear. You saved so you could live, so you could gift experiences, build memories, and say yes to the moments that bring joy, not guilt. So instead of asking, what if I run out? Try asking, what is worth spending on while I still can? This stage of life isn't about hoarding every penny. It's about trusting the foundation you've built. You've earned the right to enjoy it. 2. Let go of spending without joy. Now that we've talked about saving, here's the flip side. Let go of spending that doesn't bring you joy. It's easy to fall into autopilot buying out of habit, out of guilt, or out of a need to fill some emotional space. But when was the last time you asked yourself, does this purchase actually make me happy? I met a woman in her 70s who used to spend thousands of dollars a year on clothes she never wore, gadgets that sat unopened, and gifts she felt obligated to buy. But what stood out most to her? A $600 plane ticket she bought to surprise her sister on her birthday. That weekend, they laughed, cried, stayed up late reminiscing. It was unforgettable. That's the difference between spending and spending well. At this stage, your money should reflect what matters most to you, whether that's travel, grandkids, a comfy chair for your back, or just having coffee with friends every Saturday. If it lifts you up, it's worth it. Don't let fear, guilt, or appearances dictate how you spend. Let go of the pressure to impress. Joy doesn't always come with a receipt. Some of the richest moments cost nothing. Spend with heart. Spend with intention. Because the goal isn't to have more or less. It's to have meaning. 3. Let go of trading time for money. Third, it's time to let go of trading your time for money unless it still brings you joy. For most of your life, time and money were directly connected. You worked hard. You showed up. You did what had to be done. And honestly, that effort built everything you have now. But now, time is your most precious currency. Ask yourself, honesty, are you still working because you love it, or because you're afraid to stop? Does it fulfill you, or just fill your day. I once knew a teacher who taught for 30+ years. People kept asking when he'd retire. His answer? When I stopped loving it. He taught until 67. One day, he woke up and knew it was time. He left with peace, not regret. That's what I want for you. But I've also seen the other side, people clinging to jobs they don't love because they're scared to lose their sense of purpose. Or worse, because they've never been allowed to just be. Here's the truth. You can earn more money, but you can't earn more time. If your work still energizes, you keep going. But if it drains you, maybe it's time to trade that time for something that actually feeds your soul. You've earned the right to spend your time with meaning. 4. Let go of postponing experiences. Here's the fourth. Let go of putting off the experiences you've always dreamed of. How many times have you said, "Someday I'll take that trip," or "One day I'll learn to paint, play guitar, visit that friend"? But here's a truth bomb. Someday is not on the calendar. It's not guaranteed. I once spoke to a couple who dreamed of driving cross-country in an old Airstream. They had the money. They had the time. But every year they said, "Next summer." Then the husband had a health scare. It wasn't fatal, but it was enough. They packed up and went. 6 months later, they told me it was the best decision of their lives. So I'll ask you, what are you still putting off? Work, routine, even planning, these can all be convenient excuses. But often, behind the delay is fear. Fear of change, of doing something new, of finally prioritizing you. This yearned wait for permission. Give it to yourself. It's not too late. You're not too old. And this world? It's still full of magic if you're willing to say yes. 5. Let go of neglecting your health. Last for today, let go of neglecting your health. I know this can be a tender subject, but hear me out. Most people think about how many years they have left, but the better question is, how many healthy years do you have left? What's the point of a dream retirement home, amazing vacations, or financial freedom if your body can't enjoy any of it? Let me put it another way. Would you rather have 20 million but feel tired, sick, and in pain, or have 1 million and feel strong, energetic, and able to fully live? You already know the answer. The good news? You don't need to become a fitness fanatic. Just start small. Walk more, drink more water, stretch, join a gentle yoga or senior fitness class. Even light strength training can improve balance, mobility, and confidence. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about protecting your freedom, being able to play with grandkids, travel, garden, wake up and feel alive. Your body is the vehicle for your life. Treat it like it matters, because it does. Start with one step, one healthy meal, one doctor's appointment you've been avoiding. Not because you should, but because you deserve to feel good. And the best time to begin is now. 6. Stop worrying about what others think. Let's get real for a second. One of the biggest weights we carry, especially as we age, is the pressure of other people's opinions. Maybe you spent decades being the responsible parent, the steady employee, the peacemaker in the family. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You kept quiet to keep the peace. You followed the rules because that's what good people do. But here's the question no one asks often enough. Who are you living for now? I once met a woman named Linda. She was in her mid-60s and had always dreamed of taking a painting class. Not to become an artist, just to try. But she kept hesitating. Why? Because she was afraid people would laugh. What if I'm not good? She asked. What if they think it's silly? My answer? So what if they do? Linda took that class, and no, she didn't become famous. But you know what did happen? She found joy. Joy in mixing colors. Joy in making something with her hands. Joy in finally doing something for herself. There's a freedom that comes with a ginga, freedom that most people don't realize they've earned. You've paid your dues. You've lived long enough to care less about fitting in and more about standing tall in your truth. You want to wear bold colors? Do it. You want to dance at the grocery store? Please do. You want to spend your weekends watching birds instead of answering texts? That's your right. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being authentic. There's a book by hospice nurse Bronnie Ware, and she shares the top regrets people have at the end of their lives. The one regret? I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Let that sink in. You only get one life, and every moment you spend living it according to someone else's expectations is a moment you don't get back. So, what would you do differently if you stopped worrying what people think? Would you take that road trip? Start that blog? Say no to the family dinner that drains you? This is your time now. And the world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the full, beautiful version of you. 7. Stop watching the doom and gloom. All right, let's talk about something we all do, but rarely admit. Doom scrolling, or in this case, doom watching. You know what I mean, those endless hours watching cable news, flipping between channels that all seem to be shouting the same thing. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Now don't get me wrong. Staying informed matters. We should care about what's happening in the world. But here's the thing, there's a difference between being informed and being consumed. And after 60, you realize your energy, your peace of mind, and your attention are some of your most valuable assets. I once asked a group of retirees this simple question. Have you ever finished watching 2 hours of news and thought, wow, I feel amazing now? They laughed. Of course not, because it never happens. The news isn't designed to uplift you. It's designed to hook you. Fear sells. Outrage keeps you watching. And too much of it? It changes your outlook. You begin to see the world through a lens of constant danger and crisis even when your day-to-day life is just fine. Here's what happens over time. Chronic stress, elevated blood pressure, restless sleep, even depression. Not from your real life, but from what's being piped into your living room 24/7. One client of mine, Harold, used to watch the news morning, noon, and night. He couldn't go a full day without tuning in, but he also felt anxious, irritable, and hopeless. So, with a little push from his wife, he did a 1-week news detox. And guess what? He started smiling more. He got back into gardening. He even joined a local music group. I didn't realize how much it was dragging me down, he told me. So here's what I want to offer you, not a rule, but an invitation. Set boundaries. Limit how much time you give to the news. Balance it with things that lift your spirit. Try reading inspiring stories. Watch something funny. Go outside and notice what's real around you. Birds, flowers, neighbors, waving hello. That's the world too. The one the headlines forget to mention. And ask yourself this simple question: is this helping me feel more empowered or more helpless? Because your time is precious. Your peace is precious. You've lived through enough already. You don't need to carry the weight of the whole world on your shoulders every night before bed. So, yes, stay informed, but don't let fear shape your reality. The world still holds beauty. There are still good people doing good things. Let that be part of your view, too. 8. Stop ignoring your financial plan. Let's talk about money, but not the scary, complicated kind. Here's something I've learned after sitting down with hundreds of people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Most folks either ignore their finances completely or obsess over them like a hawk. And both extremes can steal your peace of mind. Let's start with those who avoid it altogether. Maybe this sounds familiar. I don't even want to look at my accounts, or I'll figure it out later. But here's the truth. Avoiding it doesn't make the problem go away. It just gives it time to grow quietly. After 60, your financial plan doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be clear. You should know how much income you need each month, what would happen if your health shifts, and how protected you are from the unexpected. It's not about becoming a finance whiz, it's about peace of mind. Now let's flip it. Maybe you're someone who checks your account balances every day. You know exactly how much you spent at the grocery store last Thursday, and you're calculating whether a weekend trip might mess up your tax bracket. Sound familiar? Here's the thing: you didn't spend decades working, saving, and sacrificing just to end up feeling afraid to enjoy any of it. Money is a tool, a resource, a bridge to the life you actually want to live, not a chain that keeps you locked in fear. I once worked with a retired engineer-sharp guy, spreadsheets for everything, but he hadn't taken a vacation in years. When I asked why, he said, "What if I need the money later?" And I said gently, "What if you don't? What if later never comes and you miss your chance to live now?" That changed something in him. He took his grandkids to Yellowstone that summer. They still talk about it. So here's your reminder. Yes, review your plan, talk to your advisor, understand your numbers, but then let it go. Let your money serve you. Because the sign of a strong financial plan isn't just a healthy account balance, it's a life being well lived. Ask yourself, what's one thing I could spend on that would actually enrich my life? A massage every month? A cleaner so I can rest more? A class I've always wanted to take? Let your money carry joy, not just security, because you've earned it. 9. Stop living like you have forever. This one might be the hardest to hear, but it's also the one with the most power to change how you live starting today. Here it is. Stop living like you have forever. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to wake something up in you. Because if you're over 60, chances are you've already lost someone, a friend, a sibling, a spouse. And in those quiet, heartbreaking moments of grief, we remember something we often forget. Life is not unlimited. We know this. We say it. We nod when someone reminds us. But deep down, many of us still live like we'll always have more time. We say things like, "I'll go visit them next year. I'll take that trip when the timing's better. I'll start writing that book someday." But someday is not a date on the calendar. It's a delay, a pause button on your life that keeps getting pressed. I remember a woman I worked with. She was 68, funny, kind, full of light. She had always dreamed of learning to dance, but she kept putting it off. "I'm not in shape. I'll look silly. What will people think?" One day she finally said, "You know what? I'm just going to go." She showed up at a beginner's tango class. Wobbly at first, sure. But 2 months later, she was dancing at a community center showcase, wearing red heels and the biggest smile I've ever seen. She didn't become a pro, but she became herself again. Brave, bold, alive. So let me ask you a question. If you knew this was your last year, what would you stop putting off? Who would you call? What would you say? What would you do that you've always been too scared to try? Because here's the truth. You don't need a scary diagnosis to wake up. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait until it's too late. You just need to say, "This matters, and I won't wait anymore." Say, I love you more often. Book that train ticket. Start the garden, the journal, the painting class. Not because you're running out of time, but because this moment right here is precious, and you don't need to earn the right to live fully. You already have it. There's a quote I love. The point isn't to live forever, it's to create something that does. Your joy, your memories, your presence with the people you love, that is what lives on. So if today is all you're promised, how will you live it? 10. Stop saying, I'm too old for that. Let's talk about one of the most sneaky, self-limiting beliefs. I'm too old for that. Too old for what? Dancing? Learning? Falling in love again? Wearing bold colors? Starting a podcast? We say it so casually sometimes, even jokingly, but behind those words is a kind of resignation, a quiet way of telling ourselves to stay small, to not try, to not risk looking silly or feeling vulnerable. But here's the truth. Age doesn't disqualify you from anything that still lights a fire in your soul. I once met a woman who started painting at 70. She had never touched a brush before. Her first piece? A wonky sunflower. Her second? A bold, vibrant canvas that now hangs in a local gallery. She told me, I wasted too many years thinking I wasn't allowed to be new at something. That hit me hard. Because here's the thing, we're all beginners at something. And age doesn't erase your right to explore, to discover, or to begin again. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I'm too old for that, ask this instead. Do I still want it? If the answer is yes, then go for it with all the joy, curiosity, and courage you've earned over the years. 11. Let go of the need to fix everyone. This one's for the caretakers, the fixers, the ones who've spent their lives patching wounds, solving problems, and putting others first. At some point, we have to let go of the idea that it's our job to make sure everyone else is okay. That every conflict is ours to mend, every struggle ours to carry. Of course, care doesn't stop at 60, love doesn't expire, but there's a difference between supporting someone and carrying their entire load on your back. I remember a grandmother who raised her kids, then helped raise her grandkids, and was still trying to fix her adult children's problems in her late 70s. When she finally stepped back and let them stand on their own, she didn't lose them, she finally found herself. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to have peace. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you trust others to grow, even if it gets messy. And that frees you to grow, too. 12. Let go of guilt for choosing joy. Here's a quiet truth. So many people feel guilty for being happy, especially after loss, especially when others are struggling, especially if they've been taught that joy must be earned, or delayed, or justified. But joy is not selfish. Joy is not a luxury. Joy is medicine for your heart, your mind, and even your body. Choosing joy is an act of courage. It says, I'm still here. I still have light in me. I will not dim it for anyone. So go ahead, dance at the wedding, laugh at the joke, book the trip, say yes to what delights you. You've carried enough weight. You've done enough heavy lifting. You don't need permission to smile wide, breathe deep, and love this life while you still can. Let joy find you and let it stay. Final thoughts. These 12 things we've talked about aren't rules. They're reminders. Gentle, honest invitations to make space in your life for what really matters. Let go of fear. Let go of guilt. Let go of noise and pressure and the weight of expectations that aren't even yours to carry anymore. You've earned the right to live more freely, more joyfully, more intentionally. And before you go, I have a question for you. What's one thing you're ready to let go of? Starting today? Drop it in the comments. You never know who you might inspire with your story. And if this message touched something in you, if it reminded you of your power, your freedom, your time, share it with someone else who might need that same reminder. Because the beauty of this life, it's never too late to begin again.